Hey everyone, what's up? My name's Theo. I'm a middle linebacker for the Hilversum Hurricanes. I live in Amsterdam. That's in the Netherlands. That's in Europe. Europe's a continent. Netherlands is the country. Amsterdam's a city. And yeah, I get a lot of weird comments on various other social media posts, and I have to keep clarifying that stuff because, yeah, America's a really weird place. Since this is the Friday video, we're going to be doing comment responses and news involving stuff. Recently there's been a lot of news involving, which countries are having what leagues open, and right now we'll get that into its own little section. So for this first part, we're going to go down with comments and my comment response. I will verbalize stuff here, even though I've most likely answered it on here while I'm at the gym foam rolling, or I get a comment while I'm doing cardio, so I just sort of rest on the bike. I can't actually ride my bike out in the world with no hands, so yeah. Anyways, side note. Okay, so we're going back to like a week ago, because I didn't do anything on Sunday. We were having a lot of busy. I took my GoPro on my chest mount, thing sat here. I was doing experimental footage. It was nice, but I didn't get a lot of good footage out of that. It was nice to see, but I may figure out something later for something, but so far that was not good footage. We'll probably not be doing it again. So on one of my short videos, there's a comment that says, cool, new gear is always a good thing. Talks about his hockey mask and changed the colors of it, and it looks nice. Yep. I had to buy a whole new face mask for my helmet because the old one was black and now the new one's white. May 3rd's how to suit up for football gear for Europeans. I've done multiple suit up videos before, but those were unplanned, and they were designed for an American audience who kind of knew what things were, so I made sure to explain and how to put everything on for that video. So right here it says HU2 hoot key. The screen name only needs to make sense to the person using it. As a quarterback, it sucks to wear one glove, but I ain't complaining because I be having the most slipperiest hands. It's better than nothing. Me, I feel that sometimes my hands don't want to grip anything as a linebacker. Raven Gaming had a long, you can see right there with that. He says, hey everyone, think of trying out tackle football for the town team, the Bulldogs. I've never played tackle. Does anyone have any tips? It's completely understandable. The video that was on was the original suit video from 2016. I get it. So tell him that I have a bunch of stuff, but as I just assume that sometimes people are not in the United States. I don't know where they're at, so we basically worked down, I'm not going to blab it out, you guys can go back and read that comment, but they're apparently a youth player, and yeah, they told me about their team and all that jazz. Last Sunday's video, on the last video where I had the GoPro, Nick Watt asks, how do I go about going semi-pro? This is very awkward because semi-pro is a very large catch-all term in the United States. It is called semi-pro because in general, nobody wants to be called rec ball because there is a masculinity issue about being an adult and enjoying sports outside of, it's stupid. But like every other sport can be rec ball. You can have recreational soccer. You can have recreational soccer, recreational ice hockey, recreational basketball. It doesn't matter, but when it comes down to recreational football, if you're not playing flag, you're playing semi-pro. Does that make sense? So many clubs in the United States are clubs. You pay a player fee, and they use that money to rent fields and pay refs and get equipment necessary. Most of the time you're renting a community field or a high school field. The one I practiced at a lot with the Pit Bulls was Hare Field. It was a generalized school district centralized field. It wasn't actually attached to a school per se. So we rented that from the Parks and Rec department. However, there are some teams that are semi-pro because they pay you a very small amount per game that you play, and they may compensate going to the game and coming back for your travel time. Not practices. They may provide gear after a fashion, but that's weird. Northern climates the northern areas of the United States tend to have more indoor ball. Southern areas tend to have pretty much all outside stuff. And there is actually, California and Florida do have, by definition, semi-pro teams. But they're all semi-pro whether you're paid or not, because you can't call them rec ball or people get all up in their feels. And that's basically what I was playing. I'm doing the same thing here that I did in the States. It's just club sports and there should be no shame behind that. Part of his concern is that the semi-pro teams act like pro teams and want you to try out and get signed through a draft. Again, there's a lot of chest thumping that comes in semi-pro, and it's stupid as all hell, because if I went to the Crusaders and we did the combine, which they call it here, which is what it is. It's what's your 40, what's your shuttle, what's your, they don't really do a bench. It's not really an issue. And they also take into account, they're just like, hey, what can you do? Are you super slow? Are you super fast? In case you don't know how to play the sport. But I probably could have said, no, I'm a linebacker. And they're like, oh, okay. Even with my stuff, would I have been good enough maybe for the Amsterdam Crusaders 1? I don't know. I was very new to this. I was very new to the country. They probably would have stuck me on Crew 2, which is what it's called, if I played in Amsterdam. And I gesture over that way because that's the general idea of where their field's at. Hilversum's over there. Crew 2 is in the next league down for the Netherlands, and that could have been fun. I, would have been still learning a good way to play football. We probably would have practiced with Crew 1, but we wouldn't have played at the top level. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter. I went out to Hilversum because I like blue. Plus, I went out to a practice with them, and it was way better as friendly people. So I chose Hilversum. It's travel time both ways, really. But that's what it is. We didn't have to do a combine or anything. If you have an idea about what position you want to play, people usually work around that. You may have to play multiple parts. Let's say you want to be an outside linebacker, but for some reason that year we have a lot of outside linebackers. You might be a strong safety. But there's more about coming to practice and getting better as a person gets you into a position than just showing up for games and being like, yes, sir, wish up. That puts you on special teams. But my response to him was a bit weird because I'm like, it's just next level bull. Many teams play act, which in an old game I play was, theater. They act like they're the NFL of the region. It sounds like politics and that playground crap where you split up the favorites like in Megamind or something. And it's stupid. It's high school, and I don't like it. Original suit-up video, someone asked what position I am, because I didn't say so in that video. I had no idea what that video would become when I made it. I was just trying to be the cool, tiny-ass YouTuber doing something that I'd seen other people do. I was just basically doing a TikTok thing and copying what I saw as a trend. I didn't realize it would blow up like that. So, what position are you? Linebacker. Middle linebacker, because I eat. Then we have Charlie Moore Jr., who's commented on various other videos throughout the daily vlogs that I do. He asked how many players are on my team. And I was like, about 30 regularly. We have more skill players than not, so a few of our linemen play both O-line and backup D-line, or the other way around. So it makes it a little tough. But usually we're not putting a receiver in. We're not putting a receiver in for a defensive back. We're not putting a defensive back in for a receiver. We usually have, unless they're like super skilled and have been at the sport like 20 years, then they usually bounce around. But that's still not very common unless they're linemen. And that's pretty much that. Okay, so news section. Gonna talk about this every time. There is so many countries right now striking up a league. I think Germany's happening this weekend. The ELF is striking up in less than a month. You guys can all search up that stuff there. I'm gonna have links below to the gfl.info and the EFL, whatever their website is. But if you want to check out everything that's going on, it's AmericanFootballInternational.com. That is a horrendous link, I know. It'll also be below. But they like to conglomerate and congregate all the news from American football around the world, but right now it's mainly Europe. Brazil is in a practice season right now, and Yeah, they also talk about Japan that I don't talk about much. Germany this weekend. Austria's been done with. ELF is striking up soon. Spain is done. France is not having a 2021 season. Netherlands is not having a 2021 season. I know Hungary is doing their stuff. I've seen some Polish teams going through some things. And Italy, it's going crazy. And I know that a lot of British teams are going back to practices. I'm not sure if they're going to have an actual season. Also, Ireland, Dublin Rebels are definitively, they are going crazy with their Instagram stuff. Yeah, as you guys can see here, the Dublin Rebels, they're, looks like this Sunday at 12:45 p.m. Ireland time. But they're going crazy and all that jazz. It's great. In terms of pandemic stuff, like I said, we are probably not going to have anything in terms of a game until a friendly may happen September, October. I'm not necessarily sure. A lot of teams don't have the members that have been coming to practices because the health crisis. I personally have a vaccination appointment coming up in the 18th, which is in 2 weeks, which is nice. It's my first one. That's cool. And then the next one will be in July. So I may be conked out for a weekend. Depending on how I feel, I may or may not go to practice. If I'm feeling a little weak, I may take the bus out there and film. Then I'm not going to practice. I would much rather let my body heal and deal with, building up immunity to things than, try to do football practice, because the future of football matters more than the one practice I might miss. So anyways, that's up with that. So comments, news, all that jazz. I will catch you guys out in Hilversum. We're looking at I probably won't see you guys for another 5.5 hours. It'll be just a quick second for you guys. Hi, I'm later than I want to be at practice. So, slightly missed a tram from my place, which is fine. I leave early enough. Went down to Albertheim, got all my stuff, was up at the platform at 18:17. So 6:17. My train leaves at 6:30. And I look up at the thing and I'm like, that whole train's been canceled. I looked up and it immediately changed over to, Niet rijden, right neat. And I'm like, so my brain did pathways and decided, okay, let's take this other thing. So I actually missed my bus, and now I'm still gonna get to practice on time, just not early like I wished I would. But you can roll with the punches. I'm still not gonna be late. I'm not gonna miss anything. Yeah. One was putting pads on. See? Yeah, it doesn't actually really hurt, and then maybe we should have you run up against the sled real fast. With the helmet on.
Maar dit is dus van mij. Dat mag je voorlopig lenen.
Oké, dankjewel. I don't even know if you guys can see what the original color of this shirt was, because it was bright before, which makes this thing look a little darker. Does my sleeve still have it? Maybe down there by my actual arm, but yeah, it's like 20 fucking degrees outside and I've been exercising and it's just, oh my God. But we did the low sled, we brought out the hoop. We don't have a large hoop, so we had to use a very long, the things that the CrossFitters do with a rope. We made that a figure 8, and we ran around it, as they do with large hoops, and basically lean in the entire side. We're doing a lot of, and then Ed brought out the baseball. Sometimes it's a tennis ball if we need to or something, whatever. But we have to grab the ball at some point during the route in the figure eight. So that's how that goes. I did make some mistakes. My booty was getting a little tired, and I tend to stand up a little bit more when that happens. It's probably a hamstring problem, but it's stuff I can work on over the summer, stuff I can work on at the gym. I can utilize getting a ball and putting it beneath that pad in the back of the gym and scooping around that pad and trying to get the ball and staying low, yada yada. I think, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, but yeah, that's I got to show some running back stuff. Punter was punting, and one of the new guys was returning them. Danny was here. Are you guys still doing that let's collide in the center?
No, we just do rollouts. QB rollouts.
Yeah.
QB rollouts.
Yeah, I know.
Practice some scrambling.
Well, yeah, because that's always good with scram. Because I've had in the past QBs that just want to stay in a little tiny pocket. And I'm like, that doesn't fucking work. Because if your O-line is inexperienced and they let somebody through, or you got a really good D-line, you're going to have to scramble.
Yeah.
And if you also can't throw on the run, that's a bad thing. So practicing that helps.
Yeah, for the receivers as well, to react.
Well, yeah, that is as good as it is in the United States for football. I will say this much. The receivers never looked back to come back to the quarterback in case he was scrambling. Because, like, if the play falls apart, you got to basically wing it.
Yeah. Make something from it.
Yeah, and a lot of the receivers were like, I don't know how to wing it.
Yeah.
That shows a lot.
Man.
Well, we can both put pads on. You haven't had pads either. The old folks.
Get them out of the dust.
Alright.
It's gonna be all right. It's sort of like sometimes because of the collarbone, my nerve gets all funky and my arm twitches.
Not twitching, but it's just
Well, no, like my arm twitches and I can't really control it for a little while, but
possessed.
yeah. Are you old enough to have seen that like Seth Green movie where the hand was evil?
Maybe with a fake idea, but
Whatever. I'm so old. Focus on my face. Shaky, shaky. Look at that sun. I don't want you to focus on my face, but I want you to focus on the sun over there. It is, let me check my stupid watch. 10:21. See if I can hold this and roll it for you guys. I couldn't see it, but hopefully I held it there long enough. I mean, the street lights are on, but whatever. Yeah, I have until 43 until the bus comes. I don't know how my getting home situation is going to be. But, okay, so I was talking to our punter and I was talking about a merch idea. And I think what I'm going to do, like maybe... Motherfucking bug? Anyways. Check that one tomorrow. But yeah, like it just... I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little background, like a black background, and have the name of a position, not a very specific position, just wide receiver, slot receiver, running back, quarterback, all that stuff. Linebacker, maybe not middle linebacker. That gets a bit specific. And we'll just run a test. I'll bring this up on the live stream that's going tomorrow. For this video is on a Friday, so about Saturday morning for the States, I guess is the terminology. Because like I said, I go at 6 p.m. my time, so that's noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. So we'll talk about that one there. I'll draw up some designs, at least for a linebacker. I need to get a quickie little catchphrase for it, because I just want to have linebacker. And then I want something stupid like, jack of all trades, man at arms, or something like that. Is that word trademarked? I know that's a character in He-Man. Something like that. Punter, kickers that can run. And what Kevin was talking about is we're working a lot more this year for rolling out. And you guys, I have had some quarterbacks in the past that just is so stupid. No, I'm just going to stay in my pocket. Bro, you're in semi-pro. You do not have a reliable line. And here, we have a reliable line. But anyways, oh my goodness. I don't know if the camera's getting that. I can definitely see like a silhouette, but I'm also at like... Like, I bet right now, based on yesterday's video of me riding around Amsterdam for an hour and 6 minutes, barely stopping, except for lights, and then this at like 10:30, someone would have a magical fucking experience here. If this was their first time to the Netherlands, you know, they could have talked to guys at practice just in general about football. If I was here with Willie, he'd have been talking with guys at football. He'd probably have been running routes. He's old. But he'd have been running routes out there with Kevin. So I got cleats that fit him. And then we'd be walking back to the bus. And he would just have this like transcendent experience. I know he had a great time in Puerto Rico, but this is different. Summer in the Netherlands hits different. I need to think about eating my stuff. Cool. I had to check everything in my pockets.